For the latest in strategic affairs, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell icon for updates.
Jack, just looking at the Pentagon, the DoD's latest report this year of China's military and security capabilities. Now, most of the big headlines are looking at the advancement in Chinese or the planning for the advancement in Chinese nuclear weapons. But for an overview, what are the big takeaways?
So certainly, Amitabh, the advancement in China's nuclear strategy, as you flagged, is something that has a lot of Pentagon officials alarmed. When I was fortunate enough to meet you in Delhi earlier this year in March, that was Lloyd Austin, the defense secretary's rollout throughout Asia to get to meet the allies. And that was really predicated on almost a non-nuclear China, a situation that doesn't escalate, where the allies can basically just deal with China's global expansionism throughout the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Now what we're seeing is a China that would certainly be relevant with its hypersonic tests, with its escalation of the nuclear arsenal, now doubling from what the Pentagon projection was in the previous report, to something that could be relevant in a Taiwan situation, if the Chinese want to deter the U.S. from getting involved there, or just anywhere throughout the region. So if the Chinese want to deny U.S. military presence, this certainly looks like an escalation in that strategy. And we also see that with the expansion in their profile of global bases to Ream Naval Base in Cambodia, out to Djibouti. So really a lot more presence for Chinese vessels and Chinese nuclear power to roam around the region.
Sure. We'll get into the specific areas that you mentioned in a little more detail. But just looking at the figures, because this is a government, U.S. Defense Department report. So even if facts, figures, OSINT is available for us, because the Chinese system is so opaque, and even with these figures, it's difficult to pin down. You know, the defense budget graphs that we'll bring up there on China in comparison to other regional countries. And this is not even looking at, say, I think R&D would not be included, internal security would not be included in the defense budget, and we don't even know whether their figures are complete. But how important is a report like this to put all the pieces together?
Well, I think it's very important, Amitabh, when you look at the strategy that the U.S. has, which is just predicated on fighting with American allies, because the investment that the PRC can throw towards a defense budget is just so significant. They don't have to go through a vessel like Congress. Every time the Pentagon wants to suggest something, everyone sort of gets a chop. And so what the Pentagon ends up with, the amounts of ships, the amounts of planes, is really also predicated on political interests here in the United States. China doesn't have to worry about that. And so part of the strategy here is getting the region, countries like Japan and India, that oftentimes have, had very limited military postures forward or only dealt with specific problems, to get invested in the China problem and to be more concerned in their outward look. Certainly, the U.S. has been pushed into that posture by Japan and Australia, but this is sort of a kind of a military report that shows you when push comes to shove, the allies would need to be involved because the U.S. just doesn't have the numbers, especially when it comes to that Chinese naval presence, which has grown and grown and grown, with now the largest shipbuilding industry in the world.